بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students of Management Principle course, today inshallah we will continue chapter number 4, which is talking about planning work activities. At this chapter we start with the first managerial function for any management process, which is the planning function. The previous lecture we define what do we mean by the planning function, and also we discuss the types of planning, whether formal or informal type of planning, and also we discuss the importance or the purposes for the planning function, and also we represent the relationship between planning and performance, and how do managers plan within the organizations, what are the different types of goals, whether financial goals or stated goals. Also we explain the different types of planning according to the breadth or the time frame, the specificity or the frequency of use. And also we are talking about the types of plans, whether strategic plans or operations plans. And at the end of the first lecture we start to talk about the approaches to establishing the goals, and we said that we have two approaches for establishing the goals within the organizations. The first one, which is the traditional way for setting the goals, and here the top managers set the goals or setting the goals for the whole organizations, and the goals then broken into sub-goals for each managerial level within the organizations, and it is go down in the hierarchy. Okay, and today inshallah we will talking about the next or the second type or approach for establishing the goals, which is management by objectives. Okay, management by objectives اللي هي تعني الإدارة بالأهداف. So what do you mean by the management by objective, MBO, which is approach for establishing the goals? Okay, management by objective, it is a process of setting a mutually agreed upon goals and using those goals to evaluate the employees' performance. Okay, so again, management by objective, it is a process of setting mutually agreed upon goals. So here we have a participation among the managers and other managerial level within the organizations to set the goals. Okay, and they are using those goals, which is set by the different managerial levels and the managers, in order to evaluate the employees' performance, whether they are achieving those goals or not. Okay, so here the review or they are reviewing or evaluating whether the progress was being made toward achieving those goals or not. Okay, so again, management by objective, here we have a specific performance goals are jointly determined by employees and managers. So the performance goals or the goals are mutually agreed upon goals, or it is setting by participation among the employees and managers. Okay, فهي بتكون بالمشاركة ما بين الموظفين والمانجرز، على عكس اللي هي the traditional way of setting objectives. Okay, the progress toward accomplishing goals is periodically reviewed. Okay, so for evaluating whether the goals is achieved or not, it is periodically reviewed. Okay, the rewards are allocated on the basis of a progress towards the goals. Okay, and after the evaluations, whether the employees achieving those goals or not, there is a rewards which is located for achieving those goals more effectively and efficiently. So rewards are allocated on the basis of progress toward the goals. فعندي مجموعة من المنح والمكافآت تمنح للموظفين طبعا بعد التأكد من أنه فعلا العملية تمت باتجاه الأهداف المرجوة. okay. Key elements of management by objective: goal specificity, participative decision making, and explicit performance evaluation period, performance feedback. okay. في عندي بعض يعني خلينا نحكي keywords which is related to management by objective approach to establishing goals. In management by objective we have a goal specificity. okay. We have a specific goals or performance goals to be achieved by the employees. It is participative decision making. okay. And we said, or we define the management by objective, it is approach or a process of setting mutually agreed upon goals. And explicit performance evaluation period, it have a specific period of time to reach those goals, and they are evaluating whether the employees reaching those goals or not, and they are making performance feedback. okay. بيعملوا تغذية راجعة عن هذا الأداء، هل فعلا تم تحقيق الأهداف المرجوة وفي الوقت المناسب أو لا، وبيعملوا حاجة بنسميها اللي هي performance feedback، تغذية راجعة هل تم تأدية الأداء بالشكل المطلوب، تحقيق الأهداف بالشكل المطلوب or not. okay. So in management by objective, instead of using goals to make sure that the employees are going or doing what they are supposed to do, okay, management by objective use goals to motivate them as well. okay. أنا ما بستخدم فقط الأهداف عشان يعني يجبروا الموظفين على تحقيقها في النهاية، وهذا يعني الأهداف هي التي نتطلع من الموظفين لتحقيقها، إنما المانجمنت باي اوبجكتيفز في هذه الطريقة أنا بحط الأهداف كنوع من التحفيز للموظفين. طيب ليش في هذا النوع من التحفيز؟ أكيد لأنه في عندي نوع من participations between the employees and the managers in setting the goals، فبالتالي أنا هيك بحفزهم، زائد إنه حكالي في عندي rewards are allocated on the basis of progress toward those goals. okay. What are the main steps in typical management by objective program? okay. The first step for management by objective program, the organization overall objectives and the strategies are formulated. okay. So the first step, we wanted to formulate or setting our objectives and the strategy needed to achieve those objectives. The second step, measure objectives are allocated among divisional and departmental units. okay. After we are setting the objectives, these objectives allocated among the departments and the divisions or the units, okay, and the middle level of management in order to be achieved. The third step, unit managers collaboratively set specific objectives for their units with their managers. okay. الخطوة رقم 3، احنا في خطوة رقم 2 وضعنا اللي هي الobjectives، وزعناها على الdivisions والdepartments في المستويات الإدارة الوسطى. في step رقم 3 الunit managers أو departmental managers collaboratively set specific objectives for their units. من ال overall objectives هيحطوا عندي specific objectives for each unit. طبعا هنا بنحكي على الunits أو departments whether marketing departments, public relation department, purchasing department، فأنا عايزة specific objective for each department okay with their managers. The fourth step, specific objectives are collaboratively set with all department members. okay. After we are setting the specific objectives by the unit managers, those specific objectives are collaboratively set with all department members. فإحنا كمان حنقوم بمشاركة هذه الأهداف والاستماع لكل employees within those departments. طيب step number 5, action plans defining how objectives are to be achieved. إحنا في البداية حطينا overall objective, again overall objectives, and the strategic اللي هي tools والmethods اللي هستخدمها for achieving those overall objectives. طيب بعد هيك عندي major or overall objectives allocated تم توزيعها على divisional departments أو units. After that unit managers هيعملوا participations with their managers for setting specific objectives. Okay, ف overall objective هنقدر specific objectives for each unit. طيب بعد هيك عندي ال specific units لازم كمان إنه إحنا نشارك مين members within the department for setting those objectives. قد تكون هناك بعض الاقتراحات من اللي هي department members. ممكن نعمل عملية مشاركة بالآراء وتغيير من أو وضع بعض الملاحظات على ال specific objective. Okay, after that we wanted to implement those specific objectives. So we have an action plans. The action plans we wanted to define how objectives are to be achieved. كيف ممكن احنا نحقق اللي هي الأهداف اللي تم وضعها are specified and agreed upon by managers and employees. هذا الأكشن بلان اللي هو البروجرام اللي احنا هنحطه for achieving those objectives, it should be agreed upon the managers and the employees. طبعا برضو بالمشاركة ما بين managers والemployees. Okay. The action plans are implemented. احنا حطينا الاكشن بلان في step number 5 على الورق. الاكشن بلان بمعنى ايش الاكتيفيتيز اللي انا حقوم بتنفيذها، مين المسؤول، مين الوحدة المسؤولة، النشاط محتاج مصادر معينة، وقت معين، متى حينتهي، متى حيبدأ، وهكذا. وفي step number 6 we wanna to implement those action plans. Okay. After that we wanna to review our objective whether it is يعني achieved or not. So progress toward objectives is periodically reviewed من فترة لفترة. okay. احنا هنعمل عملية evaluation or reviewed for those objectives whether it is achieved or not, and feedback is provided. في عندي تغذية راجعة لازم أطلع فيها هل تم تحقيق الأهداف، إيش بالضبط اللي كانت فيه مشكلة، أي خطوة فيها مشكلة. Then successful achievement of objectives is reinforced by performance-based rewards. Okay. بقول لي فقط successful achievement of objectives الأهداف اللي تم تحقيقها وإنجازها بشكل ناجح it will be reinforced بمعنى يتم تعزيزها بواسطة performance-based rewards، إنه يعني أقوم بمنحهم بعض اللي هي المنح المكافآت according to their performance. So again the steps needed for a typical management by objective program. The first step is to formulate the overall objectives for the organization and the strategies needed for achieving those objectives. The second step, those overall objectives are allocated among the divisional and departmental units within the organizations. After that, the unit managers collaboratively set specific objectives for their units with their managers. Okay. لأنه ال overall objectives حكينا هو يعني عام، لكن أنا هلقيت عايزة specific objectives for each department to be achieved. طيب after that the specific objectives are collaboratively set with all departments members. فلازم أشارك كمان الآخرين من الأعضاء الموجودين داخل department with those specific objectives. After that we want to set an action plans defining how objectives are going to be achieved, and for sure this action plan it should be agreed upon by managers and employees. After that we wanted to implement those action plan program. After that we wanted to evaluate and review the objectives whether it is achieved or not periodically, and after that the successful achievement of objectives is reinforced by performance-based rewards. Okay. The next step or the next slide it is asking, does management by objective work? Okay. Is there any problem in this type for establishing the goals or not? So we wanted to talk about the يعني advantages or disadvantages of the management by objective way of setting or establishing the goals. Reasons for management by objective success. The top management commitment and involvement. Okay, so one reason for a successful management of objective program that the top management commitment and involvement, high employees morals and more realistic goals and strategies, better clarity. Does management by objective work, okay, is it benefited way for establishing the goals within an organization or not? Okay, so what are the main reasons for management by objective success? The management by objective program succeed if the top management commitment, there is a commitment of the top management and an involvement. يفترض أن يكون في نوع من الالتزام by the top management for those objectives, and there is a highly involvement of those top management for setting those objectives. Okay, and also high employee morals. Okay, the employees should achieving those goals or purposes in an ethical way, and the management by objective succeed if the goals is realistic goals and we have realistic strategies, and if we have a clear objective to be achieved. Okay, ححكي أو يعني حقيم إنه طريقة الإدارة بالأهداف ناجحة إذا كان في عندي تدخل والتزام من قبل الإدارة العليا. إذا كان في عندهم نوع من يعني التشجيع على مشاركة الآخرين في وضع الأهداف. إذا كان كمان في عندي درجة عالية من الأخلاقيات لدى الموظفين في تحقيق هذه الأهداف. إذا كانت الأهداف الموضوعة والاستراتيجيات الموضوعة فيها يعني منطقية واقعية، وإذا كانت واضحة، فأكيد هذا كله حيؤدي إلى اللي هي success management by objective. Okay, so management by objective, it can increase employees' performance and also organizational productivity. Okay, so if we have a successful management by objective program, this will lead to increase the employees' performance because they are participate in making decisions with managers, and also it will reflect those performance on the organizational performance. It will increase the productivity. Okay. طيب ولكن في الجانب الآخر we have a potential problems with management by objective programs. One of those problems, it is not as effective in dynamic environments that requires constant regular resetting of goals. Okay, فبحكي لي in the dynamic environments where there is a lot of changes in the external environment and a lot of challenges مش هتظبط معي management by objectives. Why? Because it is required to reset those goals to be adapted with those changes. Okay, so it is not an effective in a dynamic environment that require constant regular resetting of goals. We wanted to changing those goals to adapt with the environmental changes. Okay, the second problem, overemphasis on individual accomplishment may create problems with teamwork. Okay, overemphasis on individual accomplishment. If we wanted to evaluate the performance for achieving those objectives or the goals individually or overemphasized individually, okay, this will create a problem with the teamwork. معناته أنت بتركز على يعني تحقيق هذا الأداء من خلال الأفراد وليس من خلال المجموعات، وهذا حيؤدي طبعا لوجود مشاكل إنه كل شخص أو كل individuals within a teamwork هيحاول إنه يشتغل بشكل يعني مفرد عشان يبين في النهاية أداؤه بشكل جيد. Okay. And the last problem, allowing the management by objective program to become an annual paperwork shuffle. Okay, why حكينا إنه يعني المانجمنت by objective program في النهاية أنا هعمل evaluation whether we achieve those goals or not. Okay, ففي النهاية هعمل اللي هو annual evaluation، هعمل تقييم يعني لمدة طويلة، مدة سنة أو ممكن أكثر. Okay. فبالتالي الأهداف أنا عندي هنا مربوطة يعني مدة زمنية طويلة. فبالتالي المانجمنت باي اوبجكتيف بروجرام become an annual paperwork shuffle، فهي حتصير وكأنه يعني أوراق عمل سنوية سيتم تداولها ما بين الموظفين لوضع الأهداف ويعني رؤية كيفية تحقيقها، وضع الأكشن بلان المناسب لها. Okay. And before we go to the next slide, if we ask a question whether the management by objective relevant for today's organizations or not, the answer here, if it is viewed as a way of setting goals just, so the answer is yes. Okay, because researchers show that the goal setting can be an effective approach to motivate the employees. Okay, فبالتالي أنا لو بدي أستخدم المانجمنت باي objectives for today for setting just goals with the employees, so the answer is yes, it is relevant for today's organizations because this will motivate the employees and increase their performance, while it is very difficult to be applied because again we have a dynamic environment, a lot of challenges, and also overemphasize on individual accomplishment may create problems with teamwork. Okay, so the next slide we wanted to discuss the main characteristics of well-designed goals. The first characteristic, the goals should be written in terms of outcomes, not actions. Okay. أنا عايزة أعرف إيش هي الأوتبوت اللي بدي أطلع فيها. Okay. لما بتحكي لي بدي أحط لك هدف بدي أعرف إيش هو الأوتبوت you need to be achieved. Okay. Not the actions needed for achieving those goals. مش عايزة أعرف كيف أصل للهدف، أنا عايزة أعرف outcomes not the actions. So we wanted to focus on ends, not the means needed for achieving those goals. Okay. The second characteristic of a well-designed goals, it should be measurable and quantifiable. Okay, it can be measured whether in quantities, okay, and sizes and a price or whatever. Okay, تكون معدودة وتكون يمكن قياسها عشان أحكم إنه فعلا أنا حققت أو أنجزت أو ما أنجزت الأداء. So specifically defines how the outcome is to be measured and how much is expected. يفترض إنه يكون موضح لي how the outcome is to be measured، كيف ممكن أنا أقيسه عشان أحكم هل فعلا أنا أنجزت الأداء أو لا، و how much is expected، كم المفروض إنه يكون يعني هذا الهدف. على سبيل المثال لازم أحكي للعامل في المصنع إنه your goal is to produce 500 units of product A. okay. فأنا حددت له هنا اللي هي outcomes. okay. It can be measured, it is quantifiable. okay. فهو ممكن يحكم أو يقيس أداء جيد أو لا بأنه outcome 500. okay. انتجت 400 انتجت 300 فبالتالي أنا بقارنها okay بال 500. so it can be measured and it should be specific how much is expected. لازم أحدد له كم قطعة لازم ينتجها في اليوم. okay. Also the goal should be clear as to time frame. okay. It should be clear and also it is aligned with a time frame. لازم تكون واضحة for the employees in order to achieve it okay in an effective and in an efficient way, and also it should be aligned with a time frame. لازم أحدد له الوقت المناسب to be achieved. How long before measuring accomplishment. okay. يعني ما راح أترك الهدف مفتوح إلى ما لا نهاية، لازم يكون في له يعني وقت محدد for measuring or evaluating whether we are achieving or accomplishing those goals or not. okay. The fourth characteristics of a well-designed goals, challenging yet attainable. The goals should be challenging and also attainable. لازم يكون في نوع من التحدي ولازم يكون كمان يمكن تحقيقه. okay. So it means low goals don't motivate. okay. لو ما كانش عندي challenging goals فبالتالي ما في عندي أي نوع من التحفيز. so low goals is not motivate. So we want to have a challenging goals in order to motivate the employees to achieve it. High goals motivate if they can be achieved. okay. so ال challenging goals برضو يعني جيد، هيعمل لي motivations، بس لازم يكون مرتبط بأنه it can be achieved and it is an attainable goals. okay. ما يكون فوق طاقتنا، ما يكون فوق الموارد الموجودة عندنا، لازم يكون إلى حد ما منطقي حسب إمكانياتنا. so it can be achieved. okay. The fifth characteristic of a well-designed goals, it should be written down. لازم يكون مكتوب. okay. ليش لازم يكون مكتوب؟ to be more clear, to focus on it, defines, make goals more visible for the others. okay. فدايما يفضل انه الاهداف تكون يعني مكتوبة، بتكون واضحة اكثر، صريحة اكثر، مجبرة للاخرين على القيام بها. okay. معرفة. okay. okay. The last characteristic of a well-designed goals, communicated to all. okay. This goals should be communicated for all members within the organizations in order to achieve it. So we wanted to put everybody on the same page. لازم نحط الجميع في الصورة، لازم نحطه يعني هنا بيحكي لي في نفس الصفحة، بمعنى في نفس الصورة، في نفس الهدف، to focus to achieve those goals. okay. فيفترض انه هذا الجول يصل للجميع، وبالتالي الجميع يشارك في تحقيق هذا الهدف. okay. So again, the main characteristic of a well-designed goal, it should be written in terms of output or outcomes, not in actions. We want to focus on ends, not a means. It should be measurable and quantifiable. It should be clear to time frame, challenging and also attainable, or it can be achieved, written down and communicated to all. okay. So we can say that the characteristic of a well-designed goals, it can be يعني يمكن اختصارها في 5 خصائص أساسية. okay. تختصر في كلمة SMART. so a smart goal or a smart objective, it is abbreviated to S for specific. It means we have a specific or a precise goal. في عندي هدف محدد. Measurable, it is abbreviated to measurable. It means quantifiable. We can measure it. Attainable, it means it can be achieved, or it is possible to be achieved. okay. R, it is abbreviated to realistic. It is a practical goals. okay. And the T, it is abbreviated to timely. It is time bounded, or it is aligned with a time frame to be achieved. okay. لازم الهدف يكون محدد، يمكن قياسه، يمكن تحقيقه، يكون إلى حد ما واقعي حسب إمكانيات الشركة، ويكون كمان محدد بوقت معين. okay. the next slide, we wanted to discuss the steps in goal setting. If we wanted to set a goals, we wanted to follow several steps. The first step is to review the organization's mission statement. okay. And before we discuss and explain the first step, we wanted to explain what do we mean by mission statement. Mission statement, it is a broad statement of an organization purposes that provide an overall guide to what organization's member think is important. okay. فهي بتعطيني يعني it is a broad statement about the purposes of the organizations, about the overall purposes of the organizations. أو أحيانا بختصروها mission statements، هي بتجاوب على سؤال بيقول why organizations exists، إيش سبب وجود هذه المنظمة. okay. إيش هو الهدف اللي بتسعى هذه المنظمة لتحقيقه. so this is a mission statement. so before we setting a goals, we want to review the organization's mission statements. بدنا نعرف إيش هو رسالة المنظمة. okay. بدنا نعرف ال overall goal for or the purposes of this organization, so why the organization exists. عشان بناء عليها راح أحط الأهداف اللي حتوصلني for this mission statement. so do goals reflect the mission statements? We wanted to setting goals which is reflect the mission statements. so again, mission statement, it is اللي هي رسالة المنظمة. It is a broad statement of an organization purposes that provides an overall guide to what organization's member think is important. Okay, the next step after we review the organization's mission statement, we wanted to evaluate the available resources within the organizations. Okay.